Good morning. On Twitter, there's some breaking news. Gary Gensler has been charged with market manipulation. Read this. Coinbase provides evidence of Gary Gensler placing over 2.5 mil in Bitcoin shorts just 48 hours ago. Looking very smug here. There's probably a little bit more to unpack. We'll go on to the next thread here. As a matter of fact, it's not the first time that Mr. Gary Gensler has been accused for manipulating the markets with inside information. August 22, multiple reports show similar instances where he took part in market manipulation, which begs the question of why hasn't this been brought to more light in the past? With this, it's gotten a lot of views here, 170,000. But if we go back up to the first thread, it's over 1 million, 1.4 million views it's been looked at. Is this true or not? We need a little bit more clarity around here. At the end of the day, I highly doubt it, but there is a lot going on with Gary Gensler. Over here in Australia, the Australian banks are putting the restrictions, the noose, around Twitter payments, blocking your payments, access to your own money. We've got a lot to unpack today. I just want to show you this video really quickly. I'll bring this one up for you. And we'll hit play.
Fraudsters, scam artists, Ponzi schemes, the public being left in line at the bankruptcy courts. We've seen this story before.
It sounds like, to me, he's talking about the traditional banking system, but obviously this guy's paid to look after the traditional banking system. It is an all-out war here. At the end of the day, we've seen all this before. This is not the first time these FUD attacks have happened. And we can see here, the market's not reacting anymore to what he has to say. Can we go lower? Sure. Can we go higher? Yes, it will be up, down, or sideways short term. Next week with the FOMC meeting, we've got the CPI print on the 13th, FOMC meeting on the 14th. If they raise rates, we will go lower. This is my opinion. This video is not financial advice. If they don't raise rates this time, we're probably off to the races short term. And either way, for the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, maybe it's just a good opportunity to stack up. Bitcoin 26,541. Having a look at the chart, we are starting to trend back up. We'll see how this plays out. Really, it doesn't matter. The more Bitcoin you can get at the end of the day, for me, I think that's a good thing. So Ethereum 1847, sideways action last 24 hours. It did pump back up. And it'll keep going up, down, and sideways for the next little while. Now, Kevin O'Leary, we find him pretty interesting in the space. This video is pretty good. I've skipped to 28 seconds here. Altcoin Daily put it out there. It's interesting what he has to say, and he's both right and wrong in this situation. He really goes hard after Brian Armstrong, but we'll just listen to a couple of seconds here, about 20 seconds. So check this out.
Get a new CEO at Coinbase to go back in there and say, let's make a deal. Because look at it this way. If you could walk in right now and say, okay, Gensler, you win. Let's regulate this. Let's call it a security. You get $1 trillion worth of assets for an allocation of just 3% in sovereign wealth. You could open the spigots. You could really make this industry take off and own it domestically. But read the tea leaves, read the room, listen, read Gensler's lips. The answer is no.
And currently, we've been talking about on this channel for a long time. The goal here is to not get rid of crypto, but to regulate it like they do traditional finance, to be able to have control of it. We'll jump into this story with Australia, with the banks, and then the CBDC rollout that's happening here in this country. Because it's not just in this country, it's all around the world. There is an agenda. If they can regulate crypto, and I've been saying I don't like regulation, but it's coming, the right regulation will bring more money into the space. And that's what all this show is about at the moment, is just being able to have total control. So we've got a story here, G7, G20, sort of the superpowers in the world here. Stablecoin regulation is a sticking point between the G7 and G20. We're going to hear more and more about this. G20 are concerned widespread stablecoin use may threaten their monetary policy and are seeking stricter measures. First world countries, not really a problem. It's in second and third world countries where it is more of a problem. They don't want the US dollar to be easily traded when their currency is inflating so fast away. I want to comment a little bit more on what Kevin O'Leary had to say, but I just want to race through the news real quick with the fast facts so you can catch up, wake up, and get on with your day. Together, the two bodies to varying degrees are relying on global standard setters such as the IMF, the FSB, and the Financial Action Task Force to make relevant recommendations and rules for the sector. And they are in control of the world, our finances. It's going to happen, unfortunately. You can still be self-sovereign with Bitcoin, and Ethereum's most likely not going anywhere. They are implementing some changes later on this year, which may spark the SEC getting back up into them again. But I think ultimately Bitcoin, Ethereum will be fine. They'll regulate it to no ends, but it will bring more institutional investors in. And different parts of the world, the East and the West, are approaching this very differently. But let's get on with this. While both groupings have vowed to implement FATF's anti-money laundering rules for crypto, recent statements made by the forums have indicated differences in how they view the treatment of stablecoins. So there's two approaches. G7 has pushed for tighter norms and signaled its commitment to implementing the FSB's norms for regulating crypto assets and the IMF recommendations on CBDCs. The FSB's individual recommendations for regulating crypto and stablecoins are expected in July 23, not that far away from July. So we'll get some clarity around there. G20, it's later on in the year. I think they're looking about August, September to be able to get that guidance. It's going to keep playing out. CBDCs are coming out. Do we think they're a good thing? Probably not. A lot of security. They will promote them as faster, quicker. We've already got that with crypto. It's all about control, and it's going to keep going back to that. So we can't help it. All we can do is take responsibility. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, whatever it is, Ethereum. It's all up to you, ladies and gentlemen. So the SEC Gensler rebuffs crypto complaint, says he gave ample warning heat was coming, and he has. They, like I was saying yesterday, they always pick the greatest photos of Gensler. Some promoters of crypto asset securities contend that their token has a function beyond simply being an investment vehicle. To give credit where credit's due, I don't like Gensler, I don't agree with him, but to be honest, he's fairly correct in that statement there, truthfully. Some additional utility does not remove a crypto asset security from the definition of an investment contract, Gensler said, though he added that tokens built for exclusive use in their blockchain ecosystems can be exempted from such accusations. That there's a really big statement, really important going forward, and that will be taken into account. The investing public generally buys these crypto assets, at least in part, anticipating profit based on the efforts of these token issuers. Of course we do. It's why we're here and we play around with these ship coins, is to be able to make gains, put them into Bitcoin, into hard money, into a hard asset. That's the truth of it. Some of them have a little bit of utility, especially Ethereum gives you access to the EVM network, the Ethereum virtual machine. For the rest of it, it is what it is. They're there to make more Bitcoin. That's casino. When crypto asset market participants go on Twitter or TV and say they lacked fair notice, that their conduct could be illegal, don't believe it, Gensler said. They may have made a calculated economic decision to take the risk of enforcement as the cost of doing business. Interesting statement there. He's right and he's wrong. He still hasn't given any guidance of what is and isn't a security. It is going to go to the courts. Now, Brian Armstrong's doing an amazing thing, fighting, staying in the US, being able to get regulatory clarity. The space is going to change a little bit, but it's not bad at the end of the day. It's just evolving. They will try to take away control, but it's decentralized. So good luck to them. And this is more part of the war on crypto. Australia, my home country, where I am right now. Australia's Commonwealth Bank. This is my bank account as well. Well, it was. It is 6 in the morning here. Probably by 6 tomorrow morning, they will no longer be. This is absolutely horrible. They'll partially block and restrict payments to crypto exchanges. Australian Bank announced on Thursday that they will decline certain payments to crypto exchanges or hold them for a period of 24 hours. It's a shame because they have Pay ID. They're so quick to be able to use it. Yes, they're a top 4 bank. I don't like any banks, but blocking this out. So a couple of things here. The bank also plans to introduce limit of payments to crypto exchanges of 10,000 Aussie dollars per calendar month in the months ahead. I will be getting all my money out of the bank there back into crypto. This is crazy. And they do talk about protecting investors. It's always about protecting investors. And they can get away with this party line because there are so many scammers in this space, just absolutely ripping off investors. But that's one side of the coin. There's so much happening in the space that is revolutionary, that is changing the world. They can't put it all in one basket. And I think after the noise, as the space develops more and more, the regulation, I don't want the regulation. Don't think that for a minute. But as it comes in, it will weed out more and more of the bad actors. Cream is going to rise to the top. Bitcoin, Ethereum are going to be fine, which for me, that works out well. The rest of it is going to be harder and harder. They'll have to register as securities and it'll be what it will be. So incidents of scams increase in many cases, customers suffering significant losses from being scammed. The introduction of 24-hour holds, declines, and limits on outbound payments to cryptocurrencies exchange will help reduce both the number of scams and the amount of money lost by customers. If they, like, it's my money, it is my money, I'll do what I want. This is absolutely crazy. Whether I want to put it into crypto, buy a car, go out and party. I wouldn't spend $10,000 on a night out partying where I am in my life anymore. Been there, done that. But whatever it is that I want to do, I should be able to do it. And for them to be able to put any type of control like that, that is unacceptable. That is absolutely unacceptable. And this sort of lines up with what they're doing here. The Australian announces a CBDC pilot study for the EAUD. This March 2nd, old article here. They are seeing huge benefits and using CBDCs, digital currencies like USDC and foreign exchange trading and international remittances. They're just talking about Australia's sort of handed it over the stablecoin, allowing companies to be able to choose how they use it, implement it, seeing what's happening and how it can work. So they give a little bit and they'll take a lot. CBDCs in no way are good for anyone. Maybe they're all right short term, long term, as these governments get more totalitarian, they'll take more and more control of your assets, like Australia putting a ban on MyCash. Earlier in the week, we're telling you about getting money out of the ATM. We need $1,900, which is not a lot of money. Far less than that $10,000 restriction there. Had to go to 2 ATMs because the first ATM would only give out $1,000 and then you couldn't go and get another 1,000 out of that ATM again, which is ridiculous. The world financial system is under a lot of pressure and they're putting all these gates to, it's like herd mentality. All this propaganda out there will keep you safe. It's the fiat system that's failing here. At least that's my opinion right now at this moment. So CBDCs are similar to stablecoins. We know that, but the CBDCs come with government control. They will be backed by the Treasury, at least here in Australia. That gives a little bit of peace of mind, but if we can have private companies doing it with proper proof of reserves, I think that's a lot better. Private industry over government. Pegged to the price of fiat currencies such as the US dollar. However, instead of being maintained by private companies that issue tokens on decentralized networks, CBDCs are fully backed and maintained by their respective governments. Taxes and the army there. And then we go over here. Circle is doing good things, definitely more centralized, but it's a private company. Rolling out more support for USDC stablecoin on Arbitrum. Now, am I going to hold Arbitrum forever? I've got a little bit of it. No, but I do think it'll run up quicker next year. And don't take what I'm doing for what you're doing. Do your own research. but it's a casino. Use that, make profits, flip it back into Bitcoin. And it's fun. At the end of the day, it's still gambling, but it's a little bit of fun. And Arbitrum is Ethereum's biggest layer 2 scaling solution. So it will have a good narrative. Can it go lower in the short term? I definitely think so. Be watching it, but I'm not phased. Holding it long term, roll it into Bitcoin. I won't be holding it forever. And that's the way I play this game, ladies and gentlemen. Everything goes back into Bitcoin. Small allocation, 2 to 5% to play in this crypto casino. 95% stays in Bitcoin. So stablecoin issuer Circle Internet Financial on Thursday rolled out its native USDC on Arbitrum, the leading layer 2 solution. We said that. So the rollout of USDC on Arb comes hot off the heels of the layer 2 scaling solution. And this sort of slipped under the radar a little bit. Arbitrum experienced a bug yesterday in its sequence of software that temporarily caused the network to stop confirming transactions on chain. Based on an early read of the data, the total supply of USDC on Arbitrum has already reached 27.6 million, though that's still a tiny fraction of USDC's total supply, roughly 28.5 billion. So these stable coins here have a lot of power with the new financial system, which is digital assets, cryptocurrency, and they will bring in more regulation, ladies and gentlemen. We can't get away with it with this next FOMC meeting as well. If that CPI print is high, like I was saying earlier, they're going to raise interest rates. It'll come down. The market's saying they won't do that, pricing it in pretty consistently that it won't happen, which is good. There's still the possibility that it happens. We'll see. I could see reasons why they still could do it. So for and against. And flipping over to the banks, they've come to the metaverse. So it's pretty interesting. Nobody's going after NFTs, just after cryptocurrency, which is interesting because cryptocurrency is more like digital money than NFTs, and the metaverse is just a space. So JP Morgan, they arrived in Decentraland under the brand Onyx, which is a blockchain-based platform for wholesale payment transactions. March last year, HSBC announced the purchase of land on the sandbox. Kookmin and DBS, two giant banking firms from Asia, have entered the metaverse and began offering various services. DBS, Singapore's biggest bank, is purchased a large plot of land on the sandbox to develop interactive experiences aimed at promoting a more sustainable world, especially with the ESG agenda. ESG, I don't know if it's good or bad, the issues there, but it is an agenda. They're going to keep pushing it as well. So just make a profit off it and then do use. Ethereum developers, and this is what I was getting at earlier at the start of the video. Ethereum it's not centralized by any means, but there is sort of that core unit that can roll out changes or everyone votes for it and then they go out and they do these things. If they make too many changes, maybe the SEC will change their tune on what it is, and they haven't deemed it a security or not because it keeps changing and they don't want to give any clarity at the end of the day. So developers cement final lineup of changes in the Decem upgrade. This is going to happen later this year. No exact date on it. It will be a hard fork as well. Expected later this year. Includes 5 Ethereum improvement proposals, EIPs, that designed to add more storage for data and reduce fees, which will be very good. Reducing the fees, I think more on the layer 2. This feature will scale the blockchain by making more space for blobs data, which then is expected to decrease gas fees for layer 2 rollups. EIP 1153, reduce fees for storing data on chain, therefore improve block space. EIP 4788, improve designs for bridges and staking pools. EIP 5656 to add minor code changes related to the EVM. EIP 6780 to get rid of code that could terminate smart contracts. I think that's good EIP for sure on that one. And then this is very important. We'll also will not add anything else to the fork. That's good to see. CoinGraph news over on Twitter there. SEC Chair Gensler has stated that cryptocurrency issuers may register the offer and sale of their investment contracts under security laws or meet the requirements for an exemption from registering. He says some additional utility token may not qualify as securities, but tokens and offerings that are investment contracts under the law must be registered. So if people start registering and they do give more clarity, guidance in there, the space can continue to keep growing. We will see a lot of scams get out of the place, and there'll become more businesses, because when you're going into a project, it's like investing in a startup. And while the system may be outdated, antiquated, it is what it is. That's the system it is. Companies like Tesla, Microsoft, Google, eBay, they're all registered, all securities. And Robinhood's done the right thing. They're able to provide securities to investors out there. So there is ways to be able to work within the system and fight the system from within. And that was another article. So that's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of big interviews coming up next couple of weeks. Hit subscribe if we vibe. We'll see you on the next video. Have a beautiful day. Be blessed. Peace.